online registration in Retreat Booking Guru, it will display your retreats on your website and allow your guests to check availability and also to book online. So if I'm perusing your website, I can click into a retreat and register. This is an example of a registration form in a fictitious retreat center. So let's see what we've got in terms of accommodation options. Let's say I'm traveling with a friend. I could click on double accommodation and select that I have 2 guests in total, and you'll see originally the price is $2,020, but if I say that I'm traveling with a friend, it will double that for me. And that's called our multi-person registration feature. The really nice thing about this is that it asks who is in the group. So I would fill out my name first and then my friend's name and email. And my friend would be emailed once I complete the registration, letting her know that Terry from Retreat Guru has just booked a retreat and paid for it, but we still need her information in order for her to come to the retreat. It would send her a link to her own unique registration form where she could fill out all of her information, a form that looks identical to this one, and that way you are sure that you'll get all the information you need about that person who's coming, and it will create a record for that person in the system. So for example, you'll need to know her diet notes as well as her emergency contact information and medical issues. So that's a really nice feature. The other thing is when you're creating a program in the system, you can create optional items. So let's say you want to allow people to book an airport pickup or a Thai massage. You can create unlimited numbers of optional items, and you can also allow people to book multiples. So perhaps you would want them to be able to book more than one Thai massage. That's also possible if you enable it. So let's say I'm filling out this registration form, and one of the things you've asked about is my yoga experience. So if I mark down my yoga experience when I'm registering, you can actually run reports based on this information later. So I'll show you how that works in a second. So that's the front end registration. But what about the back end? What if you have someone call or email and you want to create a registration in the system for them without them having to go through the process of filling out the form and paying online? That's also possible. We call that the quick Add Reg. So we're in your Retreat Booking Guru account and you're looking at a list of all the programs you have running. And let's say I want to hover over the Yoga and Ayurvedic Detox Retreat, and I'm going to do a quick Add Reg. That means that I'm going to do an administrative only version of registering someone for the retreat. I can click on the double accommodation. Even I could do multi-person registration if I wanted to register someone and their friend or their partner. And then I just need to fill out some really basic information, whether they wanted any of these optional items, as well as the first name and the last name, and if they're using a discount code. And then you click Add New Registration and it automatically adds them to the system and gives them a participant dashboard. The nice thing about this is that it doesn't send any kind of confirmation email to that person, so you have a chance, if you want to, you can fill in their information for them on this form before sending them a registration email. You could also avoid sending them a registration email altogether, or mark down that in fact you've already collected this balance from them, perhaps via check or via debit or a wire transfer or a credit card over the phone, in which case you could select that you've already collected payment. So you'd add a payment to their account and then it would modify the balance due. The other thing that you can do is you can send the guest a link for them to edit their own details. So let's say you're talking with someone on the phone and you create a registration for them, in this case Teresa Davies, but you don't want to have to go through the process of saying, can you tell me if you have any special diet requests or what your medical issues are? You can just say, I'm actually going to send you a link where you can edit your own guest details online. That brings them to a unique form where they don't have to log in and they can fill in their own information. There's no payment associated with this form, just all the questions you've decided to ask on that form, and then they can update their registration and that'll automatically update it in your database. You can also send that out en masse to a whole group of people at one time if you wanted to. So the last thing that I wanted to tell you about is how to look at a list of all the people that you have registered for a particular retreat and filter that information. So I want to look at all the people that I have coming to this yoga and Ayurvedic detox retreat. So I'm going to apply the filter. And let's say I want to see the answers to the question about their yoga experience. So I want to see that in this column here. I can already see when they're coming, what retreat they registered for, their name and their room. But I'm going to enable an additional screen option here of yoga experience. So now I can see how that question was answered. So Teresa hasn't answered that question, but the others have. And perhaps I want to actually filter this even further and send a unique message to all the people who are beginners to tell them maybe a little bit more about yoga since they have done very little yoga. I could click on yoga experience and I could filter this list for all of the beginners. So we can see all of the yoga beginners, and now I can bulk email all of those people. And I can create a subject line, and then I can also use template codes here. So for example, I could use this first name template code to customize the email. So that will say, "Hi Terry, I noticed that you're a new beginner with yoga. If you want to check out a YouTube video, or you can give them a little bit of an example of what they might want to do to prepare for the retreat." So that's the features in this section.